Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts, and this is an Answering Questions episode, so let's actually get right to it. Alright, Mike from Beaverton, Oregon says, "Hi Chris, hope you had a nice holiday. Do you think there were any marine reptiles that could have preyed on a full-grown Shastasaurus? Thanks, as always, for your time." And you know what, Mike? I did have a good holidays, and I hope you did as well. And I have no problem answering your questions there, Mike. Feel free to ask me any questions anytime, whenever there's an Answering Questions episode, or even not. Just keep on going here. Now, do I think there's any marine reptiles that could actually have preyed upon a full-grown Shastasaurus? Now, I have actually looked up Shastasaurus, and from what I've actually seen is that the information is that Shastasaurus could actually be the largest ichthyosaur that has ever lived, and pretty much from estimating of length, they're predicting it could be nearly 70 feet long. I mean, that is an incredible size for an ichthyosaur. Now, being 70 feet long, I think you have no natural predators. I think basically is that I think Shastasaurus probably didn't have any natural predators in its environment during the time. Probably young Shastasaurus were more vulnerable to possibly sharks and other types of marine reptiles that were around in its environment. But basically, I think due to a full-grown Shastasaurus, I don't think there's any way that any kind of marine reptile could actually prey upon it. If Shastasaurus lived in the Cretaceous, I would actually say that, probably like saying the late Cretaceous, there would have been a lot of predators that would actually go after Shastasaurus. Probably some mosasaurs would actually take it on, but even though they wouldn't actually swallow it whole, they would pretty much actually tear it to pieces. But also, if it actually lived in the late Jurassic during, like, say, Kronosaurus or those Liopleurodon, some of those types of marine reptiles, I would say those would be the natural predators, the pliosaurs. And so, but even though it lived in the late Triassic, so pretty much pliosaurs and mosasaurs never existed yet during that time, so pretty much I'd say that considering that ichthyosaurs were the top predators in the pretty much the Triassic. The ichthyosaurs were pretty huge in the Triassic, but they got smaller as they got into the Jurassic and even into the Cretaceous. The ichthyosaurs went extinct just before the mass extinction around 66 or 65.5 million years ago. So pretty much it's actually kind of like a little thing there. You kind of wonder how some ichthyosaurs actually got that huge in the first place in the Triassic. But for your question, Mike, I would say that there's no natural predators for Shastasaurus. I think Shastasaurus, for full-grown Shastasaurus, it was immune from predation. So I would say, considering that any other Shastasaurus couldn't take it on, because basically they probably wouldn't have actually hunted each other. They probably would have actually just mainly fed on fishes and squids, those types of animals. All right, Brendan from Morris, New York. I was just wondering, who would win in a fight between Mapusaurus and Torvosaurus? Now, keep in mind that these two dinosaurs lived in different times and also in different environments. So pretty much, Mapusaurus lived in the Middle Cretaceous, and also Torvosaurus lived in the late Jurassic. And so these are pretty good sized carnivorous dinosaurs. But let's actually compare the two. So let's actually go right to this. So the comparisons. Mapusaurus is a large carcharodontosaurid. Basically, it lived in South America, in Argentina, pretty much nearly the same time as Giganotosaurus. And it would have hunted large sauropods, and actually could have actually hunted in packs. And they have large skulls, basically large skull, small hands, small arms, basically, and powerful legs. And it could have been a fast runner, probably maybe between 20 to 25 miles per hour. And then when you got Torvosaurus, lived in the late Jurassic. Fossil, pretty much environments basically like Portugal, Spain, and also North America. But it's a very rare carnivorous dinosaur in the late Jurassic, especially in the Morrison Formation, because you don't find a lot of Torvosaurus specimens that much in terms of like Portugal, Spain, and North America. But basically has large teeth for body size for a carnivorous dinosaur, and it would actually be closely related to Allosaurus, but basically it would be more of a megalosaurid, and somewhat big skull, and long arms, basically long, powerful arms, and also very powerful legs. And probably could have actually gotten to speeds between 20 to 25 miles per hour as well. Now, if we actually got these two in a battle, I would say Mapusaurus would actually be the one that would be the victor. I would say that's because it's a little bit bigger than Torvosaurus, because Mapusaurus can reach up to 40 feet long, whereas Torvosaurus can only get as much as 35 feet long. But I mean, it could get to 40 feet if there was ever a larger specimen that's found. But even though, when we actually look at Torvosaurus could actually have the advantage in terms it has better weaponry. It has better weaponry to actually possibly take down Mapusaurus. But the reason why I actually say Mapusaurus would actually win is probably because it's a little bit more advanced than Torvosaurus, because Torvosaurus lived in a time where basically you're hunting on large game and also medium-sized prey. But even though I would say Mapusaurus would actually have the advantage just because it's used to taking down large prey, could actually take on medium-sized dinosaurs as well. But also, it probably might have a little bit more of a strength edge, basically. It probably has more strength than Torvosaurus, so I would, because you see, size kind of tends to matter, and sometimes in these battles, is basically just because they're nearly similar in size, but Mapusaurus is a bit longer, probably a little bit taller, and probably a little bit more massive in terms of weight, because the weight of Mapusaurus is between 5 to 7 tons, whereas Torvosaurus is just 5 or 6 tons. So pretty much, I would say that Mapusaurus would actually have the advantage in strength and weight, whereas Torvosaurus can be a little bit more agile, but basically could get some blows. But I'd say it would actually be more of like a dinosaur that would actually just make a quick bite and get away, whereas Mapusaurus can hang on a little bit longer and also could actually go after the weakest spot of Torvosaurus, and this is basically the neck. And pretty much, once Torvosaurus actually gets down on the ground, and Mapusaurus just takes a good bite on the neck, it's all over. And also, Mapusaurus actually has better equipped teeth than Torvosaurus. Considering that how large those teeth are on Torvosaurus, they're probably not as strong. So I would actually say that Mapusaurus would have the advantages in that. I would say Mapusaurus couldn't crush bone, neither could Torvosaurus. So I would actually say that these dinosaurs would make slashing wounds with their teeth, not really designed to crush or overpower the prey. So I would actually say that Mapusaurus would actually win this one. Being a little bit more advanced, it was ahead of time and from Torvosaurus, so pretty much I would say, and it probably had a tad bit of a bigger brain than Torvosaurus, but even though Torvosaurus could actually have some intelligence, but basically Megalosaurids, Carcharodontosaurids never really had big brains. They actually kind of had decent sized brains for their body size, so pretty much I would actually say that Mapusaurus could actually have the advantage in that as well. Alright, that's it for now. Now next week would actually be not an answering questions episode, it would be a special episode of Prehistoric Facts. So if you got a dinosaur or a marine reptile, a shark, mammal-like reptile, dinosaurs, pterosaurs, you name it. Mainly vertebrates, basically. Mainly vertebrates that you want me to talk about. Feel free to email them. Email the species that you want me to talk about at dinocris71@gmail.com, or otherwise go on the Facebook page. I got links to a list of dinosaur names and also other prehistoric animal names that are out there, basically lists, that you can actually look up and actually see which ones I haven't talked about yet, and you can actually post them in my Facebook page if you would like. But also, you can still send me questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life anytime via email, dinocris71@gmail.com, or otherwise go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you can actually post your questions in the comment section on any Facebook post, but remember, keep your questions short and to the point. And also, you can follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL. That's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there. Also, take care of the people around you, and also for younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivation you can have for a good education. It's very important to have a good education. With a good education, get a good job in the future. And just so you know, that I have I actually have 3 new additions to my collection. They're collecta models, and basically they're kind of right behind me, right behind my left shoulder. As you can see, right in between the T-Rex skulls, right up there, there's the new collecta Tyrannosaurus Rex model, and it has a basically movable jaw. And also, right where the models are, right over here, the statuette models, there is the collecta Spinosaurus one. This is the deluxe version, though. And the one you can't see, it is kind of actually right behind me. It's kind of small, but you can actually see it a little bit. It's the swimming version of a Spinosaurus. And so these models are absolutely brilliant. I love the collecta and safari versions of the models of dinosaurs. I think they're actually doing a really good job of actually making these some of these dinosaurs are accurately made, and I think that they do a very good job on that. And pretty much the collection will continue to grow for more models and even more replicas and sometimes fossils. So let me know what species you want me to talk about in terms of a special episode, and I'll see you guys next week.